ballistic missiles and other weapons of mass destruction.
The U.S. is conducting military exercises in South Korea, which included an overflight by a long-range B-1 bomber.
능력도 다 가지고 있다.
But Tuesday, North Korean state media shot back it has the capability to fully respond to any war which the U.S. wants. Options to deal with the growing crisis remain limited as Pyongyang inches closer to an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of hitting the U.S. Sunday, North Korea successfully tested a new high-thrust rocket engine. And earlier this month, it launched 4 missiles simultaneously. 3 landed in Japanese waters. In the past, the U.S. has tried to use cyber attacks and electronic warfare to interfere with North Korean tests. It's not clear what caused this test to fail, but you can be sure there will be more in the future. Charlie?
David Martin at the Pentagon. Thanks, David.
Hey, Julie. Yes, breaking developments, I have to say. In the past 10 minutes or so, we've been getting word about this failed missile coming from North Korea. In fact, we have not heard it from North Korean government yet. I have been here on the ground in the past where they have tried launches where they have failed, and frankly, it's taken a day or 2 to get the government here to admit that it has happened. But as you've been reporting, AP and other agencies quoting the South Korean government, the National Security Council there, saying that they have detected a missile going off or trying to be launched from Simpo. That's one of their launching sites on the east coast of this peninsula, and failing. They call it a ballistic missile. I would have to say that if it was launched from that site, it was probably an intermediate range missile, not a long range missile. They usually launch sites there into the Sea of Japan in the direction of Japan, which certainly gets the Japanese quite nervous, and the United States very nervous. Remember, we have 35,000 service members in Japan, and they could be targeted as well. But it does not appear to be, although we don't have confirmation, a long-range missile. And as you've noted, we were expecting something like this around this day. Yesterday was North Korean time. We are Sunday morning right now, was the 105th anniversary of the birthday of the founder of this country, Kim Il-sung. And we were expecting, frankly, all sorts of things around this time. There was heightened interest in the possibility of a 6th nuclear device being detonated around this time, or maybe also a longer range intercontinental ballistic style missile being launched as well. That did not occur, and we figured that Kim Jong-un, the young leader of this country, was going to let his rhetoric do the firing rather than his missiles. But in fact, now we see there was an attempt, according to South Korean government, to make some trouble on the east coast of this country and in this region. That is the big concern, that they do have a ICBM, or will have an ICBM a missile that could be tipped with a nuclear warhead that could reach, believe it or not, the United States. According to several experts that we've been speaking to, that possibility could be within the next 3 years, as they put it, within the first term of President Trump's time in office. And that's exactly why he and his officials are going so hard to try to rein in the regime here in North Korea. I'll give you a little bit of taste of what we saw on Saturday, because it relates to what we're talking about here. First, let me show you how close we got to the young leader of this country, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we saw yesterday in that parade. Take a look at us yesterday at the parade.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un presiding over a most unusual combination parade here in Pyongyang. Military, civilian, and nationalism. Perhaps because his government is in the most unusual situation, in a standoff with the United States over his banned nuclear and missile program. The young leader is looking to the crowds for raucous, perhaps highly orchestrated support.
Now, in that parade, Julie, this is very interesting. We and experts who really know a lot about this stuff were looking hard at the hardware that was rolling by us. And yes, they saw 2 intermediate range missiles of the type that might have been launched this morning, that was on display to the public. One was a submarine launch missile, another a land launch missile. And even more alarming to the experts is they saw at least prototypes being rolled by on trucks of possible intercontinental ballistic missiles, new types of missiles perhaps using different types of fuels, and that's gotten people concerned. Other than what we saw on the ground there, we also heard a lot of strong rhetoric. The right-hand man, the right-hand official to Kim Jong-un, he gave the speech. We did not hear, in fact, from Kim Jong-un, and in his words, this country would, quote, defiantly confront the United States in any full-out war, including nuclear strikes. And we even got a shout-out to President Trump in the official government output yesterday. The state media saying that it was, in fact, President Trump causing all the problems with his, quote, military hysteria, and they called that dangerous in the United States, not North Korea, and that it would, quote, be no longer tolerated. So recapping what we're hearing, Julie, again, a failure according to South Korean officials by North Korea. They attempted to launch a missile. Our guess is medium range. We don't have a confirmation on that. It appears early this morning. I'm looking at my watch now. We're just going just before 8 a.m. here on a Sunday morning. We usually do it early in the morning. It came perhaps at least a day or two later than we expected, but it came around the time of the most important date in their calendar, the anniversary, the founder of the birth of the founder.
That was Greg Palcott reporting. Unfortunately, our satellite cut short there, but reporting live from Pyongyang in North Korea. He was talking about the 105th birth anniversary of Kim Jong-un's grandfather and his regime threatening to provoke a response from the U.S. by testing missiles or other weapons. And this just in, our U.S. military is confirming that indeed a failed ballistic missile, unidentified missile, was tested. It was launched. It, in fact, I'm told by my producers, blew up almost immediately. It's not clear exactly what kind of missile this could have been. Greg Palcott just now reporting on mid-range missiles. Now, let me just clarify about missile technology. There are Taepodong-1, there are Taepodong-2 missiles. Back in 2006, on another eventful day, in fact, it was the 4th of July here in the United States, and Kim Jong-il, at the time, test-fired 7 missiles, some of which were those long-range missiles, some of the most dangerous kind. North Korea, obviously, provoking a response by the U.S. We are awaiting on a response from the White House. But as you mentioned, you just heard Greg Palcott mention, this is very much in response to how heavily handed our administration, the Trump administration, is handling this situation in North Korea that has gone on way too long. And so currently North Korea issuing a forceful response to the deployment of a U.S. naval strike group that is also in the region. So the threats continue. This was a failed launch. We are awaiting a response from the White House.
상상할 수 없는 강력한 파격전으로 시도없이 쓸어버릴 멸종의 기계가 철의 대형마당에 명서슴칩니다.
구분단 연령 총대는 조국의 북부지대를 난국불락의 요새로 만들어 경의하는 최고 사령관 농기의 최상 최대 믿음에 보답할 철의 의지가 맥박칩니다. 이지의 충수명함을 수장해버리고 세계 해전사의 그리없는 기적을 창조기와 용맹을 남김없이 떨쳐갈 맹세 드높이 나아갑니다. 포항에 16 용사들을 배출한 거의 제15병연대 열병종대가 용전사들의 기운이 스닌 군기를 펄펄 휘날리며 인진력 육군 중자의 인소라에 열병 광장을 누벼가고 있습니다.
성의 뒤를 따라 열병광장을 행진해가고 있습니다.
용들의 조국소조 넘치고 있습니다. 육군 상좌와 우리 용들의 결사언니의 신념을 마음을 더욱 굳건히 다져주고 있습니다. 주체적인 기동 대공 방어 전폭으로 이제 공중 기적도를 280여
이번에 남의 함대 창설을 선포할 설속의 신념과 기상이 차고 넘칩니다. 중정의 비행문을 새기며
박종천 육군 중장의 지휘차를 손들어 열병
전쟁이 일어나면 파죽지세로 달려나가 세상에 돌도 없는 우리식의 주체 무기들로 적들을 무자비하게 진문기 보이려는 열정에 기상한고 너놓쳐 나가는 기계와 동대들의 영영함의 비행기 평대가 또다시 나타났습니다. 한양전의 하늘가가 불빛을 모양으로 아름답게 장식되고 있습니다.
나라를 중정사의 특이한 대정치 축전들로 온 세계에 빛을 뿌리게 해주신 경의하는 최고領導자 김정동기를 우러러 전체 참가자들은